Hello, welcome to a brand new video, which may be a series, given that there may be future projects, or in case you remember anything that didn't quite make it to the camera or the editing suite. This little video idea came to mind when I was watching Blame It on Jorge. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. Watching a Lost Media series, I sat back and I thought to myself, I wonder how many films that I've done in the past, or any games or whatever, I've tried in the past, but didn't quite make it, or was taken down, and the original was forever lost. And so in this video, I will go from memories and, in some cases, frames of that project which appeared mysteriously in other projects, mainly because it was done with tape at the time. Some of these are very, very old. So I want to go from the top of my list and work my way down. There's quite a big one at the bottom, but I'll come to that when I come to it. So for now, I'm going to start from the top of my list, and starting off, we have Crying Abbot, both the English and German version. So it's a short film featuring a gas mask assassin contracted to enter a house and kill two high-value targets. Now the film opens up with some kind of briefing. A couple of photos of the location and a couple of the target, I think, along with a voiceover reading the briefing, so whatever text you see on the screen is read out. When the gas mask assassin kills anyone, it goes into like slow motion. It's very, remember correctly, it's very dark, it's hard to see what's going on. But actually, whenever you kill someone, it goes all slow motion, both visual and audio. It's just basically me just slowing down the video by something like 50 or 25%. At the end, the assassin kills the two targets. And if I remember correctly, the last one actually survives a shot, and he actually pleads for life. It's like, please don't kill me, or in this case, bitte, tut nicht mir, or something like that. My German's very, very bad at the minute. Before being mercilessly gunned down by the assassin with a suppressed pistol. Like I mentioned earlier on, the film comes in two versions, the English and German version. The German version is done via Google Translate, and it was dubbed over the English version, so it was just basically a dub. I believe the videos were removed because of copyright reasons. I don't know what music I used. I think it was the opening theme to 7. But for whatever reason, it was taken down, or I removed it, but I'm not sure really. There was a sequel to Night Fight, or Night Fight 2. It's a stop-motion film featuring Kingdom Knight figurines. And it's just them fighting for no particular reason. It's just fighting for the sake of fighting. It's just an action sequence. Fortunately, I cannot quite remember what happened in particular. There's any special moves that they did, but I think it was like an improvement to the first one, the first Night Fight. And I think I followed the sequel up with the one on the ladders, which is still on YouTube right now. But in terms of Night Fight 2, completely gone, erased from history, I'm afraid. All it remains is my memories of it. It did use a soundtrack from the anime Hellsing. I believe it was not the Hellsing Ultimate version. I think it was the Hellsing Ultimate version. Basically, not the TV show version. It was like the one with the most gore and graphic content on it. The soundtrack in question, I think it was when Alucard fights Father Anderson for the first time. This one's very interesting. I remember filming this one, and I know full well there was a frame of it somewhere. It's an unknown Hellsing-style short film. I filmed with my own old DV camera. DV meant things like digital video. I think it was digital, it was actually tape. But it was a step up from my old JVC camera, which I used that one to film Oblivion. It's heavily inspired by Elder Scrolls of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, hence the name, not the Tom Cruise film Oblivion. The frame in general features me with a hood, but like that, a long coat and I'm wearing the hood on my head, and I've not got my arms in the sleeves, so it's just hanging off my head. Wearing sunglasses, and I believe I'm wearing a cowboy hat, along using a toy pistol. As for what happens in the film, I cannot remember, but if I remember correctly, it was something along the lines of hell raising. Just like a anime, well, Hellsing anime style short film where I go around shooting 2D pictures of demons. If I remember correctly, that's what happened in it. But I don't think I ever edited it. I never got to finish it. And the only frame of it that exists is in the Virus Outtakes, which is on my MrSkulltag channel. That's the only evidence of its existence. I did a Panic at the Disco Exes on TV extended and enhanced version. In case you don't know, it's a demo made by Brendan Urie, who was the lead singer of Panic at the Disco. He released a unreleased/unfinished song called Exes on TV. It's reminiscent of High Hopes, what I think, and a lot of people think as well. But unlike many of me lost videos, again, it was taken off because of copyright reasons. Though I do find it unusual that there are other videos of similar nature that are still on there. Virus. Now this one's very interesting. There's actually 2 videos of Virus that were not on YouTube. It's Virus, the film, and Virus, I Hurt You. It's a film featuring me and Connor Donnan. I'm not quite prepared to get to the story behind Connor Donnan at the minute, but I'll tell you in a future video when I'm ready to appear in front of the camera again. The film was about a game we were developing called Nerf Destroyers. It's not a real game. It was just like a title we made up just for the film. And for some mysterious reason, upon playtesting it, we are transported into the game, except we're still at my house. And the game, more or less, is in, we're in the game, so to speak. The game's mechanics apply to real life, for whatever reason. Now, it's much like Game Over, but except it doesn't feature Jake, and it's not a team deathmatch sort of scenario. It's more co-op, so we're on the same team. And we're going against like clones of ourselves with sunglasses, not like Dark Roman or whatever. It's just basically us with just sunglasses, just so you know who's who. For some reason we're being hunted down by the clones. I never explained why. It's actually the first from this Collaseum film to feature an X-ray shot. There's a sequence where a clone has me at gunpoint, and I've got a shotgun under the clone's chin, and I practice shoot him in the chin, and it cuts to like an X-ray shot of his skull shattering. You can actually see that in the trailer as well. There's another sequence where we're fighting loads of clones as the game's like doing some sort of process, like shutting down or something to get us out of here. And I shoot one clone, and because he is running, his momentum carries on, and the clone supposedly hits the camera, face first, to give sort of like a action shot. I can't remember what the idea behind that was, but it didn't look very good though. It didn't look very convincing. In the camera's perspective, he looks like he just runs, stops dead in his tracks, and he just falls backwards with a punch sound. At the end we're ambushed by one stray clone, and we both get blown away with a shotgun. But in our last moments, we're trying to, we say, we did well, we nearly made it, and all of a sudden, bang, we're transported back to real life. No harm done. And it's like, we're all right, we made it out alive. And there's a prompt on the screen, and I think one of us goes, what's this do? Presses a button on the keyboard, bang, we're transported back into the game. And we're like, oh no, we're back. And we look to the side, and we're like, we just go, oh no. And it cuts to the credits. It was removed from YouTube because, again, copyright. I think it was the song in particular was Rammstein's Ich tu dir weh. At the time, I was really big into Rammstein. I still am. I still love Rammstein. But back in the day, I was like, every single song I listened to was Rammstein. And the I Hurt You video is it's a video of like clones of me, of course, with sunglasses, lip syncing and pretending to play instruments along to the song Ich tu dir weh. The reason I call it I Hurt You because the phrase Ich tu dir weh translates to English as I hurt you. I think it's some kind of poetry or something, you know. I can't quite remember the story behind the song. The video itself does feature like clips of the film Virus every so often. Okay, this one is purely from my memory. Nothing really exists of this at the minute. It's a film called Phantamortice. It's a Phantasm-inspired film. I think I watched a clip of it or something one day, many years ago. I played as the main antagonist. I was dressed in like a suit and tie and whatever, and I had superhuman, well, I say superhuman, but like very enhanced strength. And the only thing I remember of it is out in my front yard, and I tackle this detective, get him like an arm lock or something, and get another hand on his back, and I push him forward and make his face smash into the corner of a brick wall. And I used the sound of a Mortal Kombat 9 X-ray. And that's all I remember, unfortunately. That's all I remember of the film. Man Army Outtakes. So, this one is, I think so far it's lost, but I've got an idea where it might be. It's for basically the bloopers and outtakes for the film One Man Army. And I remember specifically, there's one notorious outtake where I asked Connor specifically to throw a hand grenade, but throw it at me, who was off camera, sat on a chair. Because at the time we had the dog Polo, who was a bulldog. And if someone threw something on the floor, he thought it was his, and he would guard it. And he would sort of snarl at you in case, if you try and get it from him. Either playful or not, he would try and bite you, basically. And sometimes he got quite aggressive. Unfortunately, that's why we don't have him anymore, because he was a bit crazy. I think he had a screw loose. It hurt like hell to get rid of him, but for our safety, we had to. We had no other choice at the time. Anyway, back onto subject. So, it took 8 takes for him to throw the grenade at me so I catch it and the dog doesn't get it. I don't think Connor got it until the 8th take, but and the sound of the Polo snarling can actually be heard during the WTF video, aka the One Man Army spoof. And there's several instances where the camera zooms into Polo, along with him snarling from that very outtake. Because some of the outtakes featured in the spoof, for example, when he breaks out into laughter, or I finish a take and I come out from the door and go, alright, and it's volumed right up. It's a spoof. Something, just don't question it. Oh, there's an unknown comedy show. Unfortunately, I can't quite remember what it's called. I think it's called Two Crazy Guys or Two Mad Kids or something like that. Featuring me and Jake. The intro itself featured us sort of, asleep, and we both wake up with urgency. We look at each other with a big grin on our face, doing a thumbs up. And it says something like, "This is Robin and he's crazy," and I fall down the stairs. And something like, "This is Jake and he's just as mad," and he jumps out of the window for whatever reason. And I come back upstairs, look around thinking, where's Jake? And the title of the show comes down and knocks me over. And the only evidence of that ever existing was also in the One Man Army spoof. A shot where I'm flicking through a spell book and it zooms into my mouth. That's it. That's all that exists. That particular episode where it's basically I find a spell book somewhere in the house, and I'm just flicking through thinking it's like a novel or something. I'm thinking, what's all these pictures mean? Oh, what's this? And I start waving my hand about, saying this chant, not knowing it's a telekinesis spell. And you see in the background Jake's flailing about because I'm unknowingly using telekinesis to throw him around the room. It's quite funny from what I remember, but unfortunately I got to finish it. Oh, Unknown Comedy Show 2. So there's another comedy show we're supposed to be doing. I don't remember much about this one, but it was featured around an inside joke of mine and Jake's. The only footage of that ever existing is in the short video Idiots, where we're recreating the dramatic chipmunk video. So one of us behind the camera, and we go, and then slowly zoom into each other's faces. You can actually see very, very faintly. I'm actually holding a lightsaber downstairs, because in the series or whatever, or the video, we worked at the Death Star from Star Wars. And for some reason, we're being hunted down and pursued by the character Ahsoka Tano, who was featured in the Clone Wars, Star Wars Rebels, and The Mandalorian. Spoiler alert, by the way, sorry. But, yeah. It was like an inside joke of ours, like she was evil or something, always trying to kill everyone or something like that. It was quite, at the time, of course, we used to be up all night laughing like hell to ourselves. And it was something about that. Unfortunately, that was all I remember. Oh, Lost Zombie film. There was a film that was supposed to have been made before Unwelcome Guests. Not a prequel, but like a separate film. Which was basically me, my dad, and Jake testing out split screening for the first time. In this film, my mother uses gets like some face makeup or something to make me look like a zombie. I have like a grey face, darkened eyes, like bits of blood coming from like cuts and wounds. It looked really, really cool. I think she did my arms as well grey, just make me look like a proper zombie. If anything, I was more like the shotgun guy from Doom with hair. The reason why I say that, because all I remember from the video itself, there was like loads, like 5 of me in the dining room. Sorry, back when we had the arch, there was one sort of peeping around the corner of the arch, tapping his fingers on the arch itself. One coming from the bathroom holding a shotgun. One was in by the window. It was like split into 5 parts. There was loads of zombies, and that's about it, really. I'm not sure what happened. I think we ran out of time or ran out of tape or something, or we had tea and forgot about it. The only footage that ever existed is a blooper featuring my dad walking in front of the camera and breaking wind, farting, because wherever we film, we always record our farts. And on the subject of Unwelcome Guest, there was an actual different ending to Act 1. I say Act 1, but because it was actually filmed in 2 parts, it actually ended with me turning around going, "Oh my god!" and this Samara comes out the window and possesses me, well, attacks me in this case. Originally that's how it ended. It just charged for the camera and that was it. And then we filmed the other half another time, where I get possessed and the rest of the film carries on. But that, in the first act, or the first part, originally it was a picture of the Samara, with her face peeping through her hair. My dad had to change it. Well, I got my dad to change it because it was deemed far, far too scary for me. I absolutely shit myself when I first saw that. And a particularly fun memory was sitting on his computer back in the early days of old Doom. I used to do Doom mods back then. That's how long I've been doing Doom mods. And just for reference, he had the picture full screen behind the editing software he was using, Adobe Premiere. This is like old Adobe Premiere. So when I minimised the software, long and behold, full screen, there it was, the Samara looking back at me. I shit myself again. But yeah, I deemed it, I thought it was way, way too scary. I begged him, please change it, please change it. So I got one of the sprites from Ghoul's World, or Ghoul's Forest. Ghouls vs Humans, Ghouls vs Humans. The Samara boss fight. I got a sprite from that and got my dad to get a picture of a scary face to come out of a hair. But here's what that clip would have originally looked like.
Covered in blood. Can you hear something? No, I can't hear a thing. What? Oh my god!
Now, there's a film called The Devouring. It was back before we did The Unbrother, also known as The Mauder, also known as The Devouring. The Devouring was very similar to the Unbrother and Lockdown put together. The original idea was me and Jake was outside playing football, and this siren goes off, and we're looking at each other. Oh, what's going on? And then we hear like the sounds of roars and aliens in the distance getting closer and closer. We seek shelter, and that's it. That's where it ends. I think we ran out of ideas or something. There was a film with a cursed Woody doll. I think it was something to do with Book of Nightmares or something. Remember Book of Nightmares? It was also a series of short horror films. Also featuring the episode, I think, Attack of the Mohoff, something like that. There was like a 1 meter, about 1 meter-ish tall Woody doll with like really flexible arms and legs. It was more like a teddy bear, but some of like the shoes and his head were quite tough. It's covered in scratches and bash marks. I used to make him fight Buzz Lightyear when I was younger, because I had a Buzz Lightyear doll about the same size, and he used to fight each other. I don't know why. If there was figurines or dolls over from different franchises, they always had to fight each other when I was younger. It was so funny. And I specifically remember a scene where I'm trying to put this doll in the bin and try getting, and in this series, like, he attacks me or something, but I make his leg move to kick me in the shin, but unintentionally his foot went directly in my crotch and kicked me right in the balls, and it fucking battered. It really hurt. I just fall to the floor in pain, and that's it. That's all I remember from that. The original No Face Dice film. There's a shot where, like I say, why the mask, you look a twat, and this guy bashes me across the face with a shotgun. And there's another bit where I'm in this special armour, and I shoot this energy in this guy's face, and his face explodes. But there's more footage of that, which is actually, it was lost and found. Well, I say it's lost it's a lost project at the minute, but I found the footage recently. And I'm gonna sort of put it together and put it on YouTube just to say, yeah, this exists. This exists. But it was basically like footage that I honestly thought I'd lost, and I found it just out of the blue. Yeah, if I remember correctly, there's like a couple of shots of this Russian guy, is like talking to the main villain. I can't remember, it's like, it gets like an argument or something, do not miscredit me or something like that. And it's a particularly funny bit where he walks off round the corner. I say something under my breath, and his hand comes around the corner and gives me the 2 fingers or something. It's quite funny. There's a bit where there's a shootout at the Six Hills Park around the corner. There's like a bit of a shootout sequence there. All done with toy guns, like they've all got orange and red caps at the end, so it's obviously not real guns. The Invincible Cyclops, this one's very interesting. It is a lost project, it's an abandoned film. The reason why it's called The Invincible Cyclops is sort of a metaphor for a very tough sniper. How the sniper has one scope, could be considered an eye, and this sniper's skill exceeds that of many other snipers, almost rendering him invincible, hence the name Invincible Cyclops. it was an abandoned film, and clips of it can actually be seen used in Black, White and Red, because the main character that we uses the same body armour as Carl Magnus does in Black, White and Red. I think that's why I actually use that armour, to sort of make it, make it consistent. When in actual fact they are two completely different films. The Black, White and Red footage was filmed to give the original film some context. Not that there's really any context at all, really. There's any bit of a story there. There's nothing really in there. There's also this short film, I can't remember what we called it. I think it featured me, Connor Donnan and Connor Stevenson, I think, or Jake. And it was Call of Duty Nazi Zombies, and Connor Donnan was all the zombies for some reason. You can actually see a clip of that, a couple of clips of that actually in my intro, or it's called Rumman's intro. One clip I'm using dual pistols to absolutely gun down a zombie, and then later on one of his users, I think it was me, uses the ray gun from Call of Duty and blows another one in half. The reason I was in the bathroom when I used that, because apparently the mystery box was in the bathroom, and the bathtub itself was the mystery box. Right, this is a very, very big one, but they're all the same thing. So I'm just going to go off what I remember, really. Starting on the whole, really. Each of these projects, Power of Choice, Mechaos, Fatal Freedom and NOCERAL CODEC were all supposed to be 2D style fighting games, much like Torn Marrow. They are basically heavily inspired by Necrostorm's Death Cargo / Gorebreaker. But funny enough, Power of Choice actually started off as a Doom mod with the same name. I know Power of Choice is like an energy saving company or something like that, and I got a bit jealous. I thought they was going to take my idea from me. This is all this. This is back when I wanted to be a game maker. I didn't want to be a filmmaker, I wanted to be a game maker. And I used filming to help me do this project. But later in life, I thought filming was my thing. And later on in life after that, plumbing's my thing. So that's a different story though. So Power of Choice started off as a series of short fatality videos. So like the character Teal was basically just plasma from Death Cargo. He would charge up this energy ball and throw it at the opponent, and his opponent's face would explode. The only real evidence of this ever existing, it can be featured on Beyond the Collaseum. There's a couple of fatalities on there, some unused music, and there's a Steam profile called Roman Zombie Killing Hero, which is, my dad uses that now, but it's one I used to use, and the profile picture of that is the icon the winning icon of Teal in an alleyway. So when the character wins, their little icon would appear at the top right or top left or whatever. It depends where the camera's angled, saying, Teal wins or Acid wins. And there was quite a few characters in this. So from the top of my head, there's Teal, and I'm just going to go over the character and whatever evidence of them existing is, and my memories of that character. So Teal was like plasma. He was like an energy character. He could shoot energy projectiles. It was very energetic. He would do backflips and things like that. He was basically, like I say, like your plasma. And his arch nemesis, Acid, who's in the process of being brought back for another project, but I'm not going to say at the moment what that project is. But Acid has gone through some interesting reworks, but that comes that later. So Acid in Power of Choice behaved very similar to Leech from Death Cargo. It was inspired by Toxic as well, so a lot of toxic waste and acid projectiles and stuff. Acid wore like a blue mask with a red visor, and he would like denim jacket on. And his fatalities, he had 2 fatalities filmed, one of which he charged this green acid ball and then sort of overcharged it to make it explode, and droplets of acid will go over the opponent, and it's like burn marks all over the body. And this other one where he holds his hand out, but creates like two prongs with his fingers, so to speak, and like this acid air comes out and fills the room with acid gas. And the opponent would like scream, holding their face, and they'll pull their hands away, and they've got all the faces all melted off. That was actually filmed against Teal, and back then I used this blood candy. Like it's like a very like almost like a syrup, and I rubbed it all over my face to make it look like it was all burnt and melted off. I remember I was very young. I thought I was really impressive. I thought I looked brilliant. That was like the best one I did back then. But obviously, to today's standards, it's just someone screaming with glucose on the face. Another character was called Flare. That was portrayed by Connor Donnan. He was wearing like a green nylon jacket with sunglasses. And the only fatality that exists of him is we charged his fire. Goes, oh yeah! Throws it at the camera, and it sort of makes the opponent's complete top half explode. And it sort of goes like, booyah! It's supposed to be very enthusiastic. It's like a bit of a comic relief character, so to speak. Very reminiscent to the Chronicles Roman Lectures Hell Baron fatality. It's called Hell Blast or something. You know, really Patriot, Filia, Spiritus Sanctum. He throws this projectile and does the exact same thing. Another character was called DeVoid. He was heavily inspired by Leech as well. Well, originally he was just called Void, but he was renamed DeVoid in a later project. So Void, he had a fatality where he'd punch the opponent in the face really hard, they'll fall to the knees and basically rip their head off. The reason why he was called Void is because he was dressed in all black and he had like a Benny hat over his eyes so he couldn't see. It was believed that if light entered his eyes, he would sort of go in a bit of a rage and his anger was like turned into energy. It was actually based off of a series. Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was called, but there's this bloke. This guy who had this collar on his neck. And it was holding back this energy. And if he turned the collar down, it allowed the energy to be produced and it would like fuel him, give him like rage and he'd become really strong. And I think there was another guy where his abdomen or something, it was like a pocket and he was trying to hide this energy capsule or something from the bad guys. I can't quite remember what it was about really. But Void was based off of that guy with the anger issues. And Void was also used for a stage fatality in Xavier's house, which is the main final boss. I'll come to him in a minute. Where he grabbed the opponent and then throw him really hard against the wall. Again, like Leech from Death Cargo. And the face would just splatter all up the wall. Quite gruesome, actually. Next we have Jack Frost, where it was just me in my school uniform, minus the blazer or jumper. So I was in a shirt and tie with I think it was like a wood mask, woodworking mask, because I was trying to portray like a doctor. And actually, a very similar picture of that can be found on my Scratch profile. I actually brought the character back, also called Jack Frost, minus the mask. He had two fatalities, one of which where he would stick his hand in the opponent's gut and he'd freeze him from the inside and a lot of icicles would burst out the body and mouth. So basically just freeze him inside out. It was quite gruesome, actually. And the second one where he took his mask off, blew cold air in the enemy's face and then shattered the head with his fist. That was quite good. And then we have the final boss, Xavier. You can find the picture of him on the menu previews. Just, again, generic me with a black top on and these blue-tinted glasses. He had no moves or anything like that planned. No fatalities planned, unfortunately. There's nothing of him that was ever planned. He was just there for show. Then we have O2. Some of his only fatality can be found on YouTube. I'll be on the Collaseum, but I'll describe it anyway. He's in control of air pressure and air, so he could like take away all the air in the room, and it'd be like trying to breathe, and then suddenly it would like put back 8 times the amount of air in the room, and all of a sudden their lungs will expand to the point where they explode. He was in like a bomber jacket with a pair of red shades. There was a character called Justifier. We had a backpack and a blue Sega Mega Drive Justifier pistol or revolver, like a big blue revolver. I believe we actually had a pink one as well somewhere in the house, but I don't know where it is, but there's a pink one as well. But yeah, we had it's like a cream blue or sky blue Justifier revolver connected to my school backpack from Havelock, and had this grey graffiti t-shirt on. And the idea was that Justifier had this condition where his back would like produce stone. So what this backpack does, it gets that stone, grinds it up, and it fuels this pistol, so you can shoot fragments of that stone. And his fatality is called something like Stonehenge or something like that. And it basically, the idea is you'd shoot a piece of stone right at the enemy's throat, and they'll just instantly kill them. There's a character called Shadow Seeker, portrayed by Connor Stevenson. He had a fatality planned and one recorded. The one recorded can actually be seen, like a screenshot of it can be seen in Christofer in the intro. I should put this on my blogger as well. What the idea is, where he was like a master of shadows, he could disappear in a puff of smoke. He's like a dark character, like a black hoodie on, things like nylon trousers, nylon navy blue trousers, really dark blue trousers with like green stripes beside him. His fatality, where he'd sort of hold this great sword, disappear in a puff of smoke, and appear behind me, and then just whack it in that dead sense in the back of my head, and then appear back in front of me, like to see, yeah, he's dead. And we actually planned his other fatality where he'll disappear again like that, but sort of turn into this big black dragon and just practically bite the opponent in half, much like Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat 2 and other Mortal Kombat games. But yeah, the exact same thing, just turns this big dark dragon or something, like this big monster, and just go chomp and just bite them in half. But yeah, that's all that exists really of Power of Choice. There's one game called Mechaos. That was about a very similar thing. Countries around the world were competing each other to create the perfect android, or perfect killing android. And there was loads of different ones, and unfortunately I can't remember 2 of them. One of which can actually be seen. I think one of them's on YouTube. Yeah, one of them's on YouTube, I remember now. There's one fatality I remember, and there's one that's actually on YouTube. I can't remember the names. They've got like EX-427AB or something like that, all like technical names. And there's one that had this leather look hoodie, a black leather look hoodie with like a grey hood, and like this thing cut out of paper. It was like it was parents describes like a gimp mask or something else, like a kinky mask or something, like 2 triangles, two black triangles with like holes for my eyes to see. It was my idea, so it was what I thought. I wanted a character like that, so fucking why not? So the idea is he could create clones of himself. I think it was based off a character called Propagator from Mortal Kombat Project. I'm not too sure though. Yeah, that's based off an old thing. His first fatality, he would do something, I think rip the enemy's arm off or something, bash him with it, clone himself, and then like they get behind him and just break the neck. Something like that. I can't remember everything that he did. His other one where it's actually on YouTube, where he clones himself, and the Make-A-Wish fatality for Mortal Kombat 9 was a cross between that and Jax's fatality where they rip their arms off. So there's one guy at each side and they just go rip. And this guy standing like, ah, my arms. I can't remember what country he was based off of, but there was a Russian one. He was basically me with a top on, and the sleeves were, well, the short sleeves were rolled up so like it was a sleeveless top or something, with again the blue shades on, and you can see him charging energy and throwing it at the camera. The only clip of that exists is in Roman's intro on MrSkulltag. Back in the old days, I took Roman's Collaseum a lot more seriously. It was more like a, well, had ranks and whatnot. And if you reach a certain rank, you got what's called an intro. So it was a series of clips and whatnot of you in your films and like members of Roman's Collaseum in their films. Obviously, them being the dominant character and like examples of their work. I only uploaded mine as an example, and it used clips from films that actually didn't make it to the screen. Clips of things that don't exist, and one of which was that Russian character with the electric. Next, we have Fatal Freedom. Fatal Freedom was like a justice sort of game. You'd have villains and just your average person taking up upon themselves to be like heroes to tackle the rise of crime. There's only 3 characters made and no fatality videos made at all. But there was actually some gameplay of that actually used to exist. I used to use Unity, but that was canned and deleted and is completely lost. But the memory of it still exists, and there was actually some videos of the character soundtracks. I don't know if it's on YouTube anymore. I have to have a quick look. I have to do a quick search. But there's only 3 characters that was created. One was called Weld, or Dlew, as my dad suggested, which actually was his name in future projects. So he's called Dlew, basically Weld backwards. For the purpose of this video, I'll call him Weld because that's what it was called in Fatal Freedom. Weld had this full body sort of painter's suit, so it was like almost like it was really, really brittle. You could just tear it dead easy. He had that gloves on, and like black gloves, and he had a welder's mask. So I got one for Christmas, purely just for films and whatnot. And I had this broken airsoft rifle my dad brought home. It was just like I think it was like an M4 or something, like an orange M4. And the end of the barrel, like the barrel itself, was broke. So it's just a thin metal rod where the pellets travel through. And I used to hold that upside down, pretending it was like a welding tool or something, and use that as like a baton, using a series of stabs and strikes using a welding tool. Next we have Amp, who was basically me again in a black long jacket, which originally was like a beige colour that can be seen in Christofer, the character Al Cano, taking on Christofer's demon. We dyed that black for some reason, because I think it looked quite cool actually, and wearing like a cowboy hat. The idea was you could use sound waves to kill the opponent, and if it was like a musician or something, I can't quite remember. It was like some sort of in some illicit business. He was like one of the bad guys. And then we have a character called Murder. The reason why it's called Murder is not because he's a bad guy or anything like that. It was called Murder because it was like because you say a murder of crows, a pride of lions. I can't remember the ones, I think. But yeah, the idea was that it was a murder of crows, if you know what I mean. He's basically burnt rubber reimagined, like a biker. And he was like a sawn-off shotgun and stuff. It was just basically burnt rubber renamed. That was him in a nutshell. And now we have a really, really, really big one. NOCERAL CODEC. Now, a lot of all the original videos, apart from one, exists. So the ones that don't exist or you don't see, I will go over in detail. But the ones that you can see, I'll just give a brief mention. You can actually find them right now. If you type in NOCERAL CODEC in YouTube, the stuff's still there. I'm just going to, in future, I'm going to get them all together, put them in one video, and put them beyond the Collaseum and get rid of NOCERAL CODEC. NOCERAL CODEC was supposed to have been, again, like Virus and Game Over. It was like a game within a game, people trapped in like a game. And they're supposed to fight each other to get out. That's it. That is it. The idea was that all the friends of the creators and all the people involved was put into the game, and they've sort of been reformed based off of the characters in the game. So we have Electrify, who is basically Plasma, aka Teal, from Power of Choice. So it was sort of brought back. The reason why it's called Electrify is because there was a picture on the wall, like a picture of mountains, a word, and an inspirational quote or description beneath. I don't know what's called, but we had a load of those back in my old secondary school at Havelock. And then I brought back Acid with a slight rework. He had like a dark jacket on, as opposed to a denim jacket. And then there was one called Fungus. It was basically the Samara with his weird grey face in a hospital room, and it was just a theme for the character. That's all that existed. The idea was he'd use, she would use, I don't know what it was back at the time, what I had in mind. It would use fungi, mushrooms and shit like that. But I removed it because it was back in the day when Death Cargo was being produced. Necrostorm released a theme for a hidden secret character called Wretch. And I thought, jump in the bandwagon, I'll make a character that looks just like that. And I thought, I'm just copying it. And I deleted it. And its original theme, I don't think exists anymore. If I find it, I'll put it on YouTube and I'll show you what it looked like. But at the minute, it remains lost. Another character that didn't quite make it to the project was called Velocity. He was supposed to have been a speedster, like the Flash. He was just a theme. Another one that was just a theme was called Hazard. He was very much like Acid, but like a different. It was like you got Ryu and Ken. So if Ryu is Acid, Ken is Hazard. Ken is Hazard. So Ryu's Acid, Ken's Hazard. That's quite confusing. I don't know why, but yeah, that, in a nutshell, that's all Hazard was meant to be. Kakuri, that was a Japanese style character from another friend of mine who designed that one. Basically just water and ice. That's it. That's all really. There's Marrow, who was inspired by there's a character from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I can't remember what the character was called, sorry. But yeah, just basically just bones and stuff. Then you have Mopanoff. The reason why he's got his name is because it was a joke of mine and my mum's. I basically had quite a bit of hair, and she says, get to the hospital, get to the hairdressers and get that mop off. And it just sounded like Mopanoff. I thought, Mopanoff, that sounds like a good idea for a name. And that's essentially where it come from. Maximus is the physics guy. Back at some friends of mine back in Havelock, it was like in year 6 or something. We become really good friends. And I was named Maximus. I said, I'd use that for a character or something. And that was basically it. Was where it come from. AC3, I'm not sure where that name come from. Virus is supposed to be a character in the game. That character was supposed to have been the final boss. There's no theme, there's nothing that physically existed for that character. The only thing that really was supposed to have existed for that character was a mask I made at Havelock for art. It was a mix between V for Vendetta, Jigsaw, and the Sajaz face. And unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the character from Mugen, but it was like this really, really tall, ghostly character with a Japanese mask and long hair. And it would speak backwards, and it would be almost like a boss character. and it was just like jittery, and it was really powerful. And what made the character so unusual is the move where they crawl into a ball, the background would go black, and you would hear heartbeats, and every beat was this shockwave which would knock you over. Excuse me. Unless you dash out of the way. Then there was Gamma, who was, you could see, he was like a radiation style character. You heard a theme, I think. Agent X, not to be confused with the Agent X featured in Armed Bastards 1 and 2. Agent X was supposed to be an Agent Malcolm from Death Cargo. DeVoid, which is basically Void brought back from Power of Choice. It was supposed to have a second fatality. You know, obviously it kept his first one the same. But it's supposed to have a second fatality where he removed his Benny hat, his eyes would glow red, and in his anger would sort of melt the opponent because of, you know, the waves or something. We had Nightmare, who was like the fear character. Stench was supposed to be he uses like diseases and stuff. Vapor was actually an idea submission for Death Cargo as a thing where you could submit your idea for a character or artwork, and there was the video I made. I quickly threw together and I had a full bio for this character called Vapor. I was so adamant. It's idea for you. A character called Vapor. I was wrong at the time, so I put him into NOCERAL CODEC instead. So Vapor in the Death Cargo video, it's just Maximus charging his ball of smoke or something. He throws it at the camera, and it basically edited like Plasma's fatality, where his eyes popped out of the sockets. Instead of when his eyes popped out, there's these big puffs of smoke and that, and like, you know. So I've later put him into NOCERAL CODEC. And then there's Extreme, which was actually Tristerium from Christofer, who was Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. No lie there. Nothing new there. And also another interesting character that was just an idea at the time, Aranoid, aka Arachno, but a guy. I was supposed to have created like this sort of spine rig. Well, not a spine rig, but like a thing to put in the back. It's supposed to have like silver or aluminum, so shall I say, spider legs, and these funny goggles on, and that was it. That was it, really. And that's all the hidden characters from the abandoned games and whatnot. And yeah, that's all I remember of that. And that's everything I have to say in this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it interesting. And stay tuned for more projects that may surface in future. As of now, thank you for watching. And have a nice day. You have been watching the MrSkulltag channel. Be sure to check out the links in the description for more short films, entertaining videos, gaming videos, or check out our blog for future updates.